What is up guys, and welcome back to SP Vids. In this video I want to talk to you guys about why I've decided that I'm going to sell my SP-555. So it's always a sad day when you realise that gear is no longer required or you don't want it anymore. I always think it's hard passing on gear. You definitely build bonds with these instruments, these samplers, and yeah, it's a tough day, but I think there's a few reasons why I've decided that this has got to go, and I think they're the right decisions as well. So I'm just going to talk you guys through why I'm selling this device, and I think through doing this, hopefully it will give you some sort of perspective on whether or not it's worth buying one of these if you've been thinking of buying one. And it may also give you some perspective if you're thinking of selling a piece of gear as well, the sort of reasoning behind it and when it's the right time to let go. So I'm going to go through a few of these things, and yeah, hopefully it just helps you guys out, or hopefully it's just interesting for you to listen to. So the 555, originally, why did I pick this up? Well, my plan for this device was that it would be really good for the channel. So at that point I was looking to expand my content, and I actually bought this at a very similar time that I bought my MPC 2000 XL. And at the time I was still working, I think, and I was considering buying an OP1. And I was just looking around at the prices of things, and then basically realised that for the same price as the OP1, I could get an MPC 2000 XL and an SP-555, which to me is kind of crazy. I think the OP1 is very expensive. I'd love to own one day maybe, or maybe the time's kind of passed for that, but I have always been thinking about getting one of those. But when I realised I could get these two samplers for that price, and I actually still had money left over as well, I think that was just the reason why I decided to end up going for the MPC and this in the end, which I don't regret at all. I think they have been good purchases. So yeah, that was the first original idea of why I wanted to purchase them, and then I thought to myself, well, this is going to be great for the channel because I'll be able to do like a whole series on the SP-555, building beats with it, showing you guys how to use it. It all turned up, started using it, and suddenly realised that it's just basically exactly the same as the SP-404SX. Now, there are differences, don't get me wrong. There are some features on this which are nice. There are a few things that I'll miss, but on the whole, and kind of generally speaking, this device is very, very similar to the way I use an SP-404. It's got the pads, the pattern sequencer, the effects. There are a few more effects, and some of them are okay, but not worth keeping this device for, I don't think. So yeah, that was basically a bit of a bummer because I thought this is going to be great. I'm going to be able to have loads of fresh content on the channel. Another thing I swiftly realised was that there just isn't the same kind of demand for content around the SP-555 as there is with the 404SX and the A. They really are huge for my channel. Always get good responses when those videos are going up. So I dropped a few videos on the SP-555, and obviously I appreciate everyone that was watching those videos. There wasn't quite the same pickup that I get with other devices when I drop videos about those. So I think that as well was another reason why I thought this 555 thing isn't really, I don't know, it wasn't really working out for me basically. So time started moving on, and I noticed more and more that this device just wasn't coming off the shelf whatsoever. It was just stuck on my shelf up in the corner of my room in here, and I just wasn't using it. I think one of the main reasons for that, apart from the other reason which I've already just explained, is because the size of it as well. And it's very similar to the 404, but then it's twice the size almost. So having that on your desk, you do have to be a bit more sort of thinking about how things are going to be laid out on the desk, whereas the 404, to me, it just sits there all the time because it just hardly takes up any room. So this is like a much bigger SP-404, and to me that was like, well, I might as well just use the 404 because it's smaller and it fits on my desk easier and it's just easier to have around. So yeah, those factors as well really were just contributing to me feeling like this device isn't getting used, and it's a damn shame, to be honest. So a couple of months ago now, probably, I started floating the idea around to myself that I wanted to get rid of this device. I think I'd put it in one of the members updates actually that I wanted to sell this because I wasn't really using it. I think I also put it out there on Twitter as well, and a few people like, do not sell this device, it's going to be worth loads in a few years, etc, etc. So I kind of sat on it for a bit longer and thought maybe they're right actually. Yeah, maybe I could potentially make a little bit more profit on this because the SP series are going ridiculous in their pricing at the moment, and you know, I'm not ashamed to admit that it would be nice to make a little bit of profit on something that you have bought and didn't really use, so that would have been nice to do that. But I probably will end up making a little bit of profit on it, but to be honest, I just want this to go to a good home where beats are going to get made on it, because there is literally no point in having a piece of audio gear just sat on my shelf collecting dust and not being used, especially in the condition that this one is in. It's in a really, really nice condition. So yeah, that's another kind of bit of discord about why I think it's the right time to sell this as well. I just really don't want it wasting away on the shelf. So my final reasoning, and this one is actually, will probably sound a bit petty, but unfortunately one of the big problems with this device is if you're right-handed. So take a look at the layout of this device. Compared to the 404, it doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed because the dials are just at the top of the device, so you can choose whatever hand you want to use those. With this, all the dials for the controls for the FX are on the left-hand side, and with SP devices, you spend a lot of time playing with effects. I think that's pretty much probably 50% of the time you're just trying different effects, experimenting with parameters and that kind of thing. So having all those on the left-hand side of this device, to me, is actually, it's not nice at all. I'm right-handed predominantly, and having them over there, it just feels so awkward. That is definitely something that I've never been able to get over. I just really don't like the fact that all the controls for the effects are over there on the left-hand side like that. Hopefully you can see that nice and clearly. So yeah, I think they're the main reasons really why I have now listed this on eBay, and it will be going to a new home. But I do want to talk about some of the positive things that I like about this box as well. So first of all, I did mention the size of it. If you have got the space, it is a nice unit to have on your desk. I think it just, that bit extra size, it just makes it feel a little bit more solid. So when I did have the room and when I wasn't struggling for space, it's nice to have it sat on a desk. It's a good size and there's a nice weight to it, so it's nice under the fingers when you're finger drumming and stuff like that. So yeah, I use the size as a negative really, but it does have a positive as well. It does sit nicely on the desk underneath your fingers. Another one as well is the size of the banks. As you can see, 16 pads on these banks compared to the 12 that you get on the SP-404, so you get a whole nother row of pads per bank, and that's really nice. It just gives you that little bit of extra space for resampling or for having those extra noises that you want to add on the top of your beats to make them sound a little bit more interesting and you're not struggling for space. I find with the SP-404 a lot before I started bouncing between my computer and the SP is that you quickly run out of space when you're making a beat in those banks. So I think that's one of the really good strong points about this device. The other one is looper mode. I used that a couple of times and made some really nice beats with that. It's basically like resample, but it's a built-in sort of feature and it works a lot better than just resampling. I won't go into too much detail about that because I've already got a video about how to use that. That is definitely one of the best features about this device, I think, is the looper mode. Another feature that I actually really liked about this device is the pads. Now, they are not like what you get on the SP-404SX. Not sure what the idea was behind that, but the change of button style on the SP-404SX, I think it's purely for kind of durability, but they just feel so kind of clicky and toggly. I really don't like them as a stock thing. These pads are much more similar to what you get on the 303. They're not quite as spongy as the 303 ones, but they definitely have a bit more sponge and they don't have that like toggly feel that the SP-404SX pads have. So that's another feature that I did like about this device. So they're the main reasons really that I've decided it's definitely a good idea to move this on now. And you know, it's always nice to have a little bit of cash come in, isn't it? So I think I've listed this for about 500, which is probably a little bit steep to be honest, but this really is in exceptional condition, this unit. Don't have the original box or anything, but I'll just quickly lift this up to show you guys that there's only one slight blemish on this, and what it is on the sample button, which is in the blue area. I don't know if you can see that, it's the long rectangular one in the blue area. It looks like something's been dropped on the device and it's just slightly chipped it, but the button still works absolutely fine. It's a tiny little chip. That is literally the only thing I can find wrong with this device. It works perfectly, comes with a 9-volt UK power supply obviously, and it's got the 128 meg card in it as well, so it's a beautiful device. It's in amazing condition, but yeah, sadly for me, just wasn't getting used and didn't work out, so it was time to move it on. So this video is going to lead on to another video quite nicely actually, and it's about picking up gear and the expectation of buying gear and the reality. So that's something I'll be posting very soon about picking up new gear and, you know, what to expect really and what it can do for you as a beat maker and what it can't do. So look out for that one dropping soon. But yeah, like I say, it's a sad day. I don't like gear going really, but as I said, there's no point me having this sat on my desk doing nothing. Someone could be making beats on this and that's what I want it to be used for. That's what it was built to be used for. So if you're in the UK and you are interested in buying this device, hit me up on Instagram, it's spvids_, and drop me a DM and I can give you a link to the listing. You can go and have a look, or you can ask me any questions on there about it as well. Okay guys, if you got this far then thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this interesting and or useful. There'll be plenty more content dropping on my channel very soon, so if you're new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to head to spvids.com and pick up some drums if you need them, as it helps me out massively. It keeps me doing this, and this is what I want to do. So if you could go and check that out, I would really appreciate it. Apart from that, guys, keep making beats, and if you've got any gear that you want to sell, maybe it is the time to do it. Peace!